What up everyone, Clayton here, and today we're here with another Skyrim build. Today's build is called the Outcast. The Outcast was suggested by Ballistic Brick. So yeah, thank you for the suggestion, and thank you for all your support, because I've seen you comment a lot. I don't respond a lot just because I'm awkward, I guess, at responding in the comments. I don't know what to say. But anyways, let's go ahead and go straight into the build. So anyways, for this build, you can kind of use any race, but I decided to use Breton, since it is more of a role-playing build. I kind of have my own backstory with it. You guys can switch it between whatever race you have, but mine goes like this. That he's a Breton, a poor Breton, born to a poor family in Daggerfall. He always wanted to fit in with the nobles and always wanted to be a noble, but every time he would try to dress up like fancy like they would just shun him, and he became an outcast. He would just beg on the streets until he became sick of it and decided to take up illusion magic to bend the will of his superiors and the nobles. This eventually got him ran out of town after people discovered what he was doing, and on the way to Skyrim, where he was trying to get some sanctum, he got caught crossing the border and was taken in by the Imperials, and you know, this whole story of Skyrim goes on. But before he actually gets upon Skyrim, he finds a cannibal feeding on the dead. This cannibal is actually a follower of Namira, which you can later on get a ring called Namira's Ring that will make you become a cannibal and get some cool benefits from being a cannibal. So yeah, that's kind of the beginning out of the way. You're going to be a cannibal, which I think really fits in with the outcast aspect, since, you know, cannibals are probably the most farthest outcasted people ever, because it's really frowned upon to eat people. Anyways, let's go ahead and go to the skills. You're going to be using Illusion, Alteration, Enchanting, One-Handed, and Sneak. For Illusion, you're going to, like I said earlier, use Illusion skills to bend the minds of the people around you, especially the ones that like make you the outcast, the nobles, the popular kids, I guess you could say. Also, you'll be using Invisibility, since you'll be using some Sneak, but the Invisibility is kind of good. Kind of sneak your way around things, maybe backstab some enemies, but you're not really that much of a Nightblade. For Alteration, you will not be using robes, or you'll be using robes, and you won't be using armor, so you can use fresh spells to make yourself a little bit more tanky, as well as Paralyze to knock down some enemies for a time being, so you can attack other enemies. Enchanting is just useful. Maybe you can use Illusion and Alteration enchantments, which makes those magic costs less, which is pretty good. As well as for One-Handed, you'll be using that as your main damage source, and Sneak you'll be using sparingly. I use Sneak with Illusion, or with Invisibility actually, to get some backstabs, and it's really cool that way. It's sort of like a Nightblade, the way you play it. Where you sneak around and get backstabs, but also you can play it up with like a straight up illusion mage, where you're kind of just casting illusion spells on enemies, watching them fight each other or run away, and then pick them off one by one, and using Paralyze whenever you get the chance. So that's kind of the gameplay mechanic as well. You also want to roleplay this build as being an outcast. You don't really want to like get a big house in the middle of town. You kind of just want to be like a loner by yourself. Shunned from society. That's why you join the cannibals for the Ring of Namira, which in the comment it says that you can get for the Taste of Death quest. So you make sure to do that quest to get Namira's Ring, because it allows you to eat bodies, which means you get health regen, as well as I think the ring gives you straight up stamina, which is pretty nice. So yeah, I guess we can talk about some of the armaments you could be using, and the armor and the weapons, I mean. But anyways, you'll be using ragged robes, or you can use any like cheap clothes, and foot wraps for the aesthetic. Like he says in the comment, it's more for the role-playing purpose, since you're poor, whatever your race is. You don't really want to be wearing like, you know, high-priced armor or high-priced clothes. Also, I kind of keep that going with the weapon. I used a regular iron sword, kind of just one of the worst swords in the game, just because you kind of keep that aesthetic. As you're poor, you use a regular iron sword, you got really nothing else for you, and that's all you get to use. And like I said earlier, the Ring Namira quest line, where you can get that ring, is pretty good as well. He also says in the comment, if you want to be a vampire, it is totally optional. For this build, I did not, because I think the vampire's negative effects are kind of too much, and sometimes it can kind of be hard to play as a vampire. And I personally do not like vampires that much. So yeah, then we talked about the gameplay. You kind of be a Nightblade, sort of, but you also kind of an illusion mage. And like I said, with the armor and weapons, you just kind of want to be as poor as you can be, if that makes any sense. And for the role-playing aspect, you're an outcast. You wouldn't really want to join, be a thane or anything, because you're an outcast. You want to be shunned from society and stay away from society because they look down upon you. So yeah, I think, we haven't talked about shouts. For shouts, I use dismay, which makes people run away from you, kind of like the more outcast thing. If you're an outcast, eating people will probably run away from you. As well as march for death, which I use 'cause it drains people's life force, which I think is pretty good for an outcast as well. So yeah, I think that's about it for this build. It's really nice. I really like this build. So please give some props to the creator. And yeah, thank you guys for watching this build. Make sure to check out these 2 builds here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. This is Clayton, signing out.